Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.
The People's Democratic Party PDP's emergency stakeholders meeting begins with aspirants in the forthcoming governorship election in Anambra State. Now, among the agendas to be discussed is the June 26 governorship primaries and possible ways of having a free, fair and credible exercise, as well as resolving other burning issues before and after the primaries. Funke Ogunlolu.
All the people. Please take your seats. And the chairman of I have a former president. I have a former governor, was also the senator, minister. Of the universe. She will be.
Your Excellencies, members of the High Table, members of the National Working Committee, our esteemed BOT members, NEC members, and like I mentioned earlier, our aspirants. This meeting is customary. Anytime we have major contests in our party. And it is for this reason that the National Working Committee, under the leadership of Prince Uche Secondus, directed that the stakeholders of Anambra, we know we have huge stakeholdership in Anambra, but this is a cross-section of our quality stakeholders in Anambra State who have been invited to attend this meeting. It is simply to rub minds, have an interactive session, and discuss ways and means that we can employ to have hitch-free primaries with everybody on board. Without saying much, having completed most of all the congresses, though they are still undergoing statutory processes before we firm up our list, I have the honor, privilege, with great sense of duty, to invite our national chairman, Prince Uche Secondus, to address these friends in the media. Will excuse us to have a family interactive session here.
We had to call this meeting for us to interact and interface. And as usual, each time we have off-season elections. They are always very stormy. They are very tough. But when it is tough, we will get it going. As you are aware, in the past, the two off-season elections in Ondo and Edo, we won that of Edo and lost the Ondo. You are here basically for us to make sure that first and foremost, all our leaders and all the aspirants are in unity. It is very important for this trying period. And you know the period which we are in. The country is passing through very trying and very difficult period. The insecurity, especially all around the country, everywhere is war front. But in the East, we know what it is, that we must not take it for either for granted or for any other way anybody will think about. We have serious problems, very, very serious problems. And the only way to come out of it is to make sure that things are done properly. Let there be fairness and equity and justice, which is in terrible deficit in our country. And that's what the PDP stands for. We stand for fairness, we stand for equity, and we stand for justice under the rule of law. And this is a party that believes that all Nigerians are one. We must live together as brothers and sisters. The other parties are lacking, as you know. Never in the history of our country that we have experienced these divisive tendencies and our people living apart from each other and fighting each other. But we promise you, as we go into Anambra, because Anambra is a key to the mission of rescuing Nigeria. Anambra is a key to the mission to bring all Nigerians together and to rebuild our country once again from the hands of the APC that have destroyed our country. We have most of the greatest Nigerians, they came from Anambra. Either in the area of academia, industry, or what have you. They all swell in the business community, the corporate Nigeria. And most of them are billionaires. That is one state that can be proud of several, not one, but several billionaires. I don't know what this country would do without Anambra. And so, Anambra is the key, the economic key of our country. And we must conduct our affairs to show the world that PDP is different, PDP is ready to rescue and rebuild this country. That's why we're here to interact with leaders of our party. As you are aware, the chairman of board of trustees is here, and other members, the chairman of reconciliation and his team, they are also here. And at the end of this meeting, I think we will go home happily that on Saturday, it will be the most freest congresses that have been conducted. And as we are aware that for this NWC, we have been building on our benchmarks since after the National Convention of 2018. And so, Anambra, we want to advise and want to call our people. The time to put down ourselves is now. This is the time to look at each other. We must not allow both Anambra, our country, to fail. We must show that good example. You have been leading several areas. You must lead politically now. This is the time to lead. We must also, at the same time, our leaders must be statesmen. They must be statesmen. They must look beyond and above individual and narrow interest. It is now for us to look at Nigeria, where we're going. And if we get it wrong, you know, the consequences will be very great and will reflect on other parts of the country. And you know, Anambra is the state that is a major in the south and especially in the southeast. So you must show that example how to lead. I want to thank you. As we go into the technical section, we'll ask that maybe the BOT will want to make, and then the chairman of Constellation want.
To all PD members of all Nigerians, especially the Anambra State. With this meeting, I'm sure the crashes, the differences in Anambra State will come to an end with us coming out with clean, free, and fair election. I want to thank the National Chairman and the NWC for ably conducting the primaries that have come out with 16 eminent personalities, including two women. And I assure you, the National Chairman and the NWC made up their mind before they set up the committee for the screening. Now that you are well screened, we assure you that there are going to be free and fair election, so that it's only one of you that will become the governor of Anambra State. If you don't become one, please, you are a PDP member. Agree with the result once it is free and fair. I assure you, whoever is sent to conduct the primary election, I'm sure he must be just free himself and not to be a number for any purpose, but for the purpose of our party. Finally, I want to condole you that without you uniting, coming together, forget about your differences, it will be hard for us. But if you come together, you work together, believe you are a PDP party, then we are going to have governor of Anambra State. We have already forgotten something like Abga. What is Abga in this country? What is Abga in Anambra State? If you are there, if PDP is there, there's no Abga, there's no any other party but PDP. I wish you every success. Thank you.
A simple message. I'm here to bring the opportunity I've had listening by virtue of this assignment of National Reconciliation Committee views of our party members across the country. Nigerians are pleading, are yearning for PDP to take over power. And they plead to us to ensure that we manage our affairs in such a way that we're in a position to do that. Those of you who are here from Anambra, it's not just about Anambra. Saturday is about PDP as a family, it's about this country. Let me commend all the aspirants and all the stakeholders so far, the way you have comported yourself. It is not easy going into an election like this, but you have shown maturity and you have shown commitment. This is the last stretch, which is on Saturday. I want to make a great appeal. What some of us are here is to ensure that the party will ensure there's a free and fair primaries. Nobody will be allowed to do any hanky-panky here, because the lives of Nigerians, not just of PDP, is at stake. And as such, the assurance we want to give you is to see that we all put our eyes and ears to make sure that it's free and fair. When we've done that, our appeal to you is to please to accept that and work together. Because the candidate alone that emerges cannot win without all of you. I'm sure whoever is sitting here knows that as well. The purpose of today is for us to talk to ourselves, because Nigeria needs PDP. But winning Anambra, after what happened on Saturday, Saturday we won an election in the House of Assembly in an APC state, not just an APC state, an APC state with one of the major governors they have in the state. Not only that, we won in the local government that gave the highest vote to the president in the last election. That is what they call a big swing, coming from the local government that gave the highest vote in 2019 election to now give the vote to opposition. That is the message we are hearing in our reconciliation committee when we talk to everybody in the country today. The country is yearning for a change. And there's nothing better than for us to come out on Saturday with one candidate and with everybody united. Because we know once that happens, by God's grace, come the election, we will win Anambra, and we again will send a message across Nigeria that truly PDP is ready for 2023. So my appeal to the stakeholders, both those who are contesting and those who are not contesting, because sometimes it is those who are not contesting that sometimes even create the problem than those who are contesting. So I appeal to those who are not contesting to please do not carry cry more than they believe. Let us give the aspirants a chance to unite and fight forward. Once again, I wish you all good luck. I'm the best man who God has already ordained lead us into victory come the general election. Thank you so much, Chairman.
Now, the outcome of the June 26 governorship primaries in Anambra State will not only serve as a litmus test for the PDP, but it would also showcase the level of preparedness of the party for future elections. Chikodinaka Dili.
First and foremost, every one of the stakeholders that attended this meeting today commended the national leadership headed by Prince Uche Secondus and the national organization and the entire national working committee for the first time. What has been done in terms of the delegate, the three ad hoc delegates may not be very 100% perfect, but it's a great improvement on what had been taking place in Anambra State before today. And we all commended their efforts, and we urge them in few areas where there are still some hitches that they should do as much as possible to resolve them. Then
let's talk about the hitches.
Yes.
First of all, there was a court order on you as a state chairman. Has that been resolved?
There is no court order on me as a state chairman. There's a judgment of a court of competent jurisdiction, which affirmed all processes leading to my emergence as the state chairman. So there's no court order against my being the chairman of the party. That is not correct.
And there are also rumors of factions within the PDP, as it were. Will that affect the June 16 primaries? People
can allude to whatever they wish to allude. You know, in every political party, a political party is made up of a lot of divergent interests and people who have different views. But the ability to harness it is what makes a party. So don't be carried away by people talking about factions. There are no factions in PDP Anambra State. All the processes the PDP had laid out and had implemented leading to the primaries had been commended by even the Independent Electoral Commission, that they have not seen a party that is so organized, so prepared, and following the due rules and regulations that should administer a process of this nature.
Very, very long time in Anambra State, the PDP has not been in governance. So how do you intend, despite the unity, to come back to the top position?
The first and foremost is that the party has shown that internal democracy counts. And when you deploy internal democracy, you will be able to win the heart of majority of members of the party. So through these processes that are going on that have been adjudged to be very great, I have no doubt in my mind that whoever emerges from the primaries would be supported by all the other candidates, all the other aspirants.
Yes, one would have just said that we've just had a mock primary with the Congress we had the other day. And if you have to go by that, it's a win-win situation for the National Working Committee. You know, everywhere you have human beings, there might have been some imperfections. And their response to those imperfections, to address the concerns of the aspirants and the interested stakeholders, have been marvelous. That's the reason why we all gathered here today. We've been meeting for the past 6 hours. They've taken individual concern, they have addressed them, and they are ready to open their offices and their books for further concern until the right things are seen to be done. We don't expect 100% imperfection, but again, this is just a Congress. And with that Congress, nobody may have won or lost. All you need to do is just to know who the names are there and then go after them.
All right, talking about perfection, a lot of issues have been thrown up as regards the PDP primaries, the conduct, the supposed conduct of the primaries. Then some people say throwing the doors open perhaps is not the best. And aside that, the issue surrounding the leadership of the party in the southeast, isn't that going to affect the primaries?
I'm not about any issue surrounding the leadership. I'm not aware of it in the southeast. As far as I'm concerned, that has nothing to do with the southeast. It may have been the state. And as you can see, the party is conducting its businesses and their affairs without any concern with that. These things are just usual attitude with some people who have made it permanent in their own strategy to continue to march and tire and then just hold the party to ransom. The party has had enough experience with Anambra and these intrigues, and I'm sure they have a solution to that. As of the primaries, everything they have said about the forthcoming primaries so far, all of us gathered there had no issues with that. They have even gone ahead to say who is going to be the chairman of the panel and other members who will join the panel. They have also told us about the composition of their pay panel after the primaries. I don't think that there's any worry about that. The only thing is if anything else happens in the course of implementing that. But so far, nobody raised the dust. Everybody seemed to be happy with the preparations. And let me tell you, I have to commend the National Working Committee, especially the Office of NOS. They have done marvelously well. There's no other party in this race that has shown sense of organization, commitment, and resourcefulness in the process. We have complied with all the guidelines. As you can see, some other parties are already having their problems. So what else are we talking about? So we hope for the best. And I think today, with all things we have at hand, our enemies will just be ashamed and we will have the last laugh. And for me, who's an aspirant, I started this journey in the name of God. I dedicated all my efforts and aspirations unto Him, and I want Him to bless it and let His will be done.